Have you ever caught yourself apologizing for something that was not even your fault? Or maybe you have that strange need to always sit facing the door in a restaurant. Most people would tell you that you are weird, intense, or that you just overthink everything. But wait, because this contradicts everything you have been told. Those behaviors are not quirks. You are not broken. Psychology has a name for this, and it is fascinating. What the world calls strange habits, your brain calls survival. Today we are breaking down the 10 strangest habits of people who went through deep suffering in childhood. And I guarantee you this, if this does not make you rethink everything, nothing will. And listen, I need you to stay until the end because habit number 10 is the one nobody talks about. It is an invisible problem that affects 90% of people who have experienced trauma, and they do not even know they have it. Once you understand number 10, everything else in your life starts to make sense. If you have ever felt like a stranger in your own skin, this video is for you. Let us dive in. If you are the kind of person who wants to understand your own mind at a deeper level, subscribe and hit the bell right now. This channel breaks down the psychology that nobody explains. Habit number 1, toxic hyper-independence. Let us start with something that looks like a virtue but hides a deep wound. You are probably that person who says, "Do not worry, I will handle it. I do not need help." Society applauds this, right? What a strong person, how independent. But let me ask you something. Does that independence make you feel free, or does it make you feel terribly alone? Psychology explains that hyper-independence is not strength. It is a trauma response rooted in distrust. If in the past when you asked for help you were rejected, humiliated, or simply nobody came, your brain learned a brutal lesson. Depending on others is dangerous. You become an island.
And the problem is that you are exhausting yourself. You reject support even when you are drowning. If this sounds familiar, it is your brain trying to protect you from disappointment. But do not worry, we will talk about how to deactivate this later. Habit number 2, the human scanner, hypervigilance. Have you ever walked into a room and immediately known who is angry, who is sad, and who is a threat without anyone saying a single word? This is almost a superpower, but one that is incredibly exhausting. People who suffered a lot, especially in childhood, develop an almost supernatural ability to read micro-expressions. A change in tone of voice, a raised eyebrow, the sound of footsteps in the hallway. For a normal person, footsteps in the hallway are just footsteps. For you, those footsteps told you which version of that person was coming through the door. Was it the safe version or the dangerous version? Your brain trained itself to predict danger before it happened. The result today is that you cannot relax. You are having dinner with friends and you are scanning the restaurant. You are reading the room constantly. It is exhausting, right? Nobody talks about this, and that is the problem. You live in a state of war during peacetime. Drop a comment right now if you do this. I guarantee you are not the only one. Habit number 3, revenge bedtime procrastination. Here is a question. Are you the kind of person who is dead tired all day, but the moment 11 p.m. hits, suddenly you have energy to watch shows, clean the kitchen, or read Wikipedia until 3 in the morning? This has a technical name, revenge bedtime procrastination, and it is much deeper than insomnia. If your day is filled with stress, obligations, or situations where you feel you have no control, something very common in people with a history of suffering, the nighttime becomes your only refuge. It is the only moment where nobody asks anything of you. Nobody judges you. The world sleeps and you are finally free. Your brain refuses to sleep because sleeping means the free time ends and tomorrow the fight begins again. It is a desperate attempt to reclaim control of your life, even though it costs you your health. Habit number 4, apologizing for existing. If you identified with the previous ones, this one is going to sting a little, but you need to hear it. Do you say sorry when someone bumps into you? Do you say "I am sorry" when you ask for something you are entitled to? In psychology, we know about the fight or flight response, but there is a third and fourth response that rarely gets discussed: freeze and fawn. People who suffered a lot often learned that the only way to avoid pain was not to fight, because they would lose, and not to flee because they could not, but to please the threat.
You make yourself small. You make yourself harmless. You apologize to calm the tension before it explodes. If you constantly apologize today, it is your inner child trying to defuse a bomb that no longer exists. And listen, later I am going to tell you how this connects to habit number 9, which is the reason you sometimes sabotage yourself when things are going well. Habit number 5. Repetitive comfort consumption. Confess, how many times have you watched that same show? How many times have you reread that same book? Your friends say, but you already know what happens. And you think, exactly, that is why I watch it. Here is the psychological explanation. Trauma and suffering are by definition unpredictable. Chaos hurt you. Therefore, your brain craves predictability. Watching the same episode for the 10th time is an anxiolytic. You know nobody is going to die. You know what happens next. No surprises, no shocks. It is a safe place. It is not boredom. It is emotional regulation. Hit the like button right now if you do this. It takes 1 second and it helps this video reach every person who has been calling themselves weird when they are actually just surviving. Habit number 6. Dissociation. Checking out. Sometimes you just leave. Someone is talking to you and you are watching their mouth move, but your mind is floating in a galaxy far, far away. Or you are driving and suddenly you arrive home without remembering the route. Dissociation is the mind's eject button. When the pain or stress was too great to bear, your brain learned to disconnect the cable from reality. It is a strange habit that scares a lot of people. Hey, I'm talking to you, they say. But for you, it was a mechanism that saved your life when reality was unbearable. The problem is that now it activates with normal stress, and you miss moments of your life that you actually want to live. And if you disconnect from the bad, you also disconnect from the good. Habit number 7. Phantom arguments. You spend hours having imaginary arguments in your head, winning fights that never happened, rehearsing what you should have said in a fight from 5 years ago. This is not being crazy, it is a need for justice and validation. People who suffered a lot were often silenced. They were not allowed to defend themselves. They were not allowed to say no. Those imaginary arguments are your mind trying to reclaim the power that was taken from you. You are practicing setting boundaries in a safe environment, your head, because in the real world it terrifies you to do it. Be honest. Leave a comment below if you have ever been caught gesturing on the street while winning a mental debate. I know I am not the only one. Habit number 8. Emotional flatlining. Here is a hard question. Have you ever experienced something terrible and felt nothing? Someone tells you tragic news and you just sit there with a poker face thinking, why am I not crying? Am I a monster? No, you are not a monster. You are a survivor. When you have suffered a lot, your nervous system has a limit. It is like an electrical circuit. If you put too much load on it, the fuses blow to prevent the house from catching fire. Your emotional fuses blow very quickly. It is called emotional numbing. It is your body saying, I cannot process any more pain today, so I will not process anything. The irony is that 3 days later, you drop a piece of toast on the floor and burst into uncontrollable tears. The pain comes out, just delayed. Habit number 9. Happiness self-sabotage. This goes directly against everything you have been told about the pursuit of happiness. Have you noticed that when everything is going well, you get nervous? You land the job? Your partner is wonderful? You have money in the bank? And suddenly you feel irrational panic, or worse, you do something stupid to ruin it. This is called happiness aversion, or cherophobia. If in your past every time you were happy or relaxed something bad happened, a blindside from life, your brain created a terrible association. Happiness equals letting your guard down equals imminent danger. For you, calm is not peace. Calm is the calm before the storm. That is why you prefer to create a small problem, a sabotage, to have control of the chaos rather than wait for fate to blindside you. It is twisted, but it makes sense, right? And this brings us to the final point. Habit number 10. The savior identity. Over-responsibility. I told you at the beginning that this is the one that makes everything else click. If you have made it this far, it is because you know there is something at the bottom driving all of these behaviors. The strangest and most damaging habit of people who have suffered a lot is that they try to save everyone else. You become the therapist for your friends. You are attracted to broken partners who need fixing. You are the one who is always there to listen to everyone else's problems, even when you are falling apart. Why?
Because unconsciously, you are trying to save yourself by saving others. You are trying to be for them the person you needed and nobody was. You think that if you fix the world around you, maybe your inner world will stop hurting. But let me tell you something, and I need you to hear this clearly. It is not your job to save anyone to justify your existence. Your pain has given you incredible empathy, yes. It has given you a brutal capacity for analysis, yes. But you do not have to pay rent for being alive by helping everyone else. If you recognized yourself in these 10 habits, I do not want you to leave thinking, I am full of trauma. I want you to think, my brain is incredibly smart. It designed 10 complex strategies to keep you alive in a hostile environment. But now you are in a different environment. You no longer need the heavy armor. Before we go, here is a professional tip, the golden key to start changing this. The next time you feel the impulse to over-explain yourself, to apologize for no reason, or to fix someone else's life, use the 5-second pause rule. Count to 5, breathe, and ask yourself, am I doing this because I want to, or because I am afraid? That small pause breaks the autopilot of trauma. Try it today. You will notice the difference. You are not broken. You are a survivor, and survivors can learn to live. Write in the comments which habit hit you the hardest. Your story might be exactly what someone else needs to read today. Subscribe, hit the bell, and share this with someone who has been calling themselves weird their entire life without knowing why. See you in the next one.